And here we are. There we go. Let me see a little bit. Hmm. Mouth tracking is a little weird today. Let me try to fix that. Okay, there we go. I think. Yeah. Anyhow, today will be a nice casual stream. All I really wanted to do, well, no, all I really wanted was an excuse to do something I should have done months ago. But then I got really busy, and then VTuber happened to lift off, and I really wanted to concentrate on things, on getting my everything ready for this for the channel, and I uh I forgot to actually unbox my copy of Devotion. I got the special limited edition, the collector's edition from Taiwan, and it cost me a pretty damn penny. My relatives in Taiwan were gracious enough to ship it over through international mail right in the middle of the COVID slowdown for holiday packages in particular, and made things extra tough for me to actually get my hands on it. But I did. I did. I got a copy of the game that you cannot get anywhere else, online or otherwise, simply because it pissed off certain Chinese officials. Well, too bad for them. That's not gonna stop me. Nothing's gonna stop me from getting this game. I paid. I paid for it. I paid blood, sweat, tears, and money for it. So yeah, this is gonna be a relatively short and casual stream because I just want to show off because it's worth showing off. There have been a couple articles written about the collector's edition already. I'm pretty sure I saw one on Polygon before, but I don't remember anything about it. There's a simple reason for that. I want to go into this blind and enjoy the experience of finding out what's actually in here, and maybe reminiscing a little bit about the cultural artifacts this represents. There's definitely a lot of things about like daily Taiwan culture that I'm pretty sure isn't exactly common knowledge, and a lot about the idiosyncrasies and everything else about being Taiwanese, especially Taiwanese American. But yeah, let's get into it. So first, this might be a little lewd. And reveal, not. Um, there we go. Now it's sharpened up. This webcam is kind of cheap. It definitely was cheap for me. I'm pretty sure it was just a hand-me-down because the family member wasn't using it. Anyhow, that's my workstation. I can put the RGB on, but frankly, that's really distracting. As you can see, it's screwing with the camera focus. Let's not. There we go. That was the intensity focus. Here is the package with identifying information torn off of it, and a knife to open it with. Aha! Alright, let's get to business. Alright, let's see, what do we have? Well, first off, standard packaging, and what appears to be a brown box on the inside. Yo, this got a little squished. I hope that doesn't mean anything on my end. Yep, Taiwanese packaging, Taiwanese stickers. The site, good deal. So let's see how much of a good deal that was. Here we are. Physical hard copy of Devotion. 18 plus only. Despite the fact that there isn't that's merely mature in theme rather than risque. But you know how people are. A little bit of scaring folks. A little bit of demonic rituals. So I'm not sure if you're watching this, especially if you're watching this as a VOD later on, you are probably aware of what the game is, what it's about. is a Taiwanese horror game produced by a small indie studio. I believe they're called Red Candle Gaming. Bunch of indie devs, not exactly anybody well known. All they wanted to do was produce a game that reflected like Taiwanese culture and superstitions, and through a horror theme. Now, I want to look up real quick later on, but there's an interesting thing about Taiwanese culture in that it is a bit of an anomaly for more than one reason. The anomaly in this particular case I'm talking about is the fact that religiosity or like general belief in supernatural and superstition and of course standard religions increased in Taiwan during its industrialization. There are actually quite a few sociological theories that predicted otherwise. The more advanced and technologically focused a society gets, the more secular it gets as well. That didn't quite happen for Taiwan. If anything, belief in the supernatural rose over time during I guess, let's see, what do we call it? The Kuomintang rule over the island after everybody got kicked out of China, right? When a lot of the Han Chinese, or at least the Mandarin speaking folks, lost the political rivalry of the Chinese Civil War and were forced off onto into the streets of Hong Kong or into onto the island of Taiwan. Taiwan itself was ruled by a fascist military occupation for decades at a time. For a while, they were the longest lasting military dictatorship in the world, I believe. Certainly longer than this body of possession has been alive. And during that time, yeah, what was it? During that time, even as the island switched over to heavy industrialization, uh, the beliefs that, well, honestly, if you think about it, that kind of makes sense. A lot of what the communists did, especially, was to purge away, uh, what was it, old beliefs systems, especially like old religions, right? So a lot of the priests and the fanatics and cultists that would have otherwise stayed in China ended up on the island, which is the setting for devotion, where the influence of a cult and the supernatural effects uh, influences what the of a Taiwanese family stuck in, I believe, the 1980s. I believe the setting of the game is still during the era of the occupation. This itself is the Red soundtrack. And thankfully, the tracks are in English. I'm going to email the devs to see if I can actually use the music on stream. I think that would be very interesting, like for general purpose streaming. My camera is not very good, so as you can see, the focus is a little blurry. Um, you can look up online. Devotion, the main theme. Come on, have a bite. Wander into the woods. Yeah, that's always a great idea, especially in a horror game. Have a sweet dream. That's not at all cynical. Shall we dine in? Dripping sanity. Merry-go-round. Birthday grab. Leap of blind faith. Chime from beyond. Crushed by reality. Oops. A way of no return. Oh dear. TV commercials. Taiwanese TV commercials. Huh. Lady of the Pier. Gong Li Fan. Lady of the Pier by Du Mei Xin. Unfortunately, during my transfer over to Texas, I lost a huge chunk of my Chinese cultural packs and language packs. So the fun thing about this is that the language is only in Dongwon in Chinese, and I don't believe they actually no. They might actually have English subtitles. Holy shit! If they have English subtitles, I will absolutely be playing this game all the way through. Permissions be damned. Uh, Taste of Taiwanese culture is something that the world should have, especially when it's so hard to get out these days. Not because the island is restrictive anymore. No, by the 1990s, pretty much the island had pretty much culturally opened itself up. Partially because that was the necessary terms in order to get like military aid from external factors, but also because free trade, frankly, makes you a lot safer than isolation. If you happen to be facing a billion pop, 1 X billion population juggernaut right off 200 miles off your coast, that's a little dangerous. If that happens to be your main rival, your main like cause for concern, and you don't have any allies, that's not a great idea. Oh man, oh man. So I had to take my hands away to get the box open a little bit because it's a little hard to open small flaps with gloves on. But let's stay with the KFAB conventions. And also, as you can see from my model, I'm supposed to be covering these hands. Anyhow, exposing my hands means letting some of my spiritual energy leak away. That's a bad idea. Let's keep cohesion, shall we? I don't like losing my body. Yeah, back down. There we go. All right. So, box is open a little bit. And what you find inside is no mere disc. There's no mere collection of pamphlets. It is instead a really old school VCR tape. Holy shit. That's nice. It's also really nostalgic. This boy's very first memory of any sort of like anxiety causing accident or hazard was to get his hand stuck in an ancient Taiwanese produced VCR set in his grandfather's room when he was like, I want to say 3. Shit, man. It's a long time ago. For you Zoomers out there, this is the equivalent of a DVD long before DVDs were available. Now, unfortunately, the VCR itself is not real, but the backing of it is incredibly, incredibly nostalgic. It's that old sticker that you had to like carefully put on the spine of the VCR, and then it would like fade over time when your hand like tried to just like jam it into the VCR player. But yeah, it's the perfect size and shape. The weight too. You almost expect it to rattle around when you shake it. But unfortunately, that's not the case. Instead, it says it has on top of the title where the flap would be, and the machine will lift open and read the tape. It says instead, Red Cattle Games for PC, the game Devotion. Oh man, this is so nicely built. Is this the magnetic latch? It is. Oh man, they did not skim the quality. They did not skim the quality at all. Oh, yes. This is very, very nice indeed. The main cover split between the pamphlet and the inner lining. And additional cultural artifacts. Let me see. I'll get into what's in the box in a bit. Here is the pamphlet itself with the one of the main characters involved. This looks to be a breakdown of what's in the box and, of course, installation instructions, all in Chinese. And this itself acts as the miniature poster. Buddhist symbology. Oh yeah, the poster itself. I especially want to get a frame for this. This is really nice. I actually purchased more than one Taiwan related games in the last like few months. During the Christmas sale at the local uh, in the local brick and mortar game store, they were also selling a game about the Taiwanese tea industry. To my shock and surprise, I didn't realize that anybody would be knowledgeable enough about oolong production to make such a game. But it looks pretty interesting. It's basically what you would call a Euro game. A lot of worker placements and resource like harvesting and efficiency productions messed with by RNG elements. Well, no, very minimal RNG elements. Honestly, mess with by uh, scarce resources and other players' decisions to force you to try to play as efficiently as possible to produce high quality tea or flavor tea and tea for export because that's where most of the money is. So this is, let me see. Again, to be clear, I haven't played the game itself. Like this is my first time handling the game at all, including having access to the actual like software involved. But I assume that because it's family oriented, there's something about a daughter who drew on the back of her flower this little cartoon tulip. And these stickers over here, they are identical to the stuff that like county stationery stores would sell to kids, right? Like you would go to like I'm pretty sure my sister used to have like a giant collection of these things. So, the style of it, the lettering of it, like the really really old school like cartoon style over here is it's incredibly nostalgic. I can't actually like describe like how many flashbacks it's triggering. Mostly to like old Chinese schools that I really didn't that the boy really didn't pay enough attention to, much to his dismay now. We would we would really like to make some Taiwanese contacts eventually. I don't know what this represents yet, but back of it does say devotion. I'm not sure if it's some kind of toy. Not as if you can press into it, right? Oh wait, no. There's a part of it that's. Is this a USB? I wonder if this is the actual game. I will have to look into it. But yeah, this thing separates. It is, in fact, a USB stick. That's amazing. If that's a game itself, it makes installation very easy. Trouble-free installation. I enjoy that. Uh, who uses this these days, right? I was hoping it wasn't like a download code or anything, because if it was, I would be screwed. There is a small children's book over here. Teen Samurai. Oh, I can't read it. But yeah, the children's book. Oh, I hope I didn't damage the spine. Okay, no, it's supposed to open. I'm trying to be as stealth as possible. That's kind of hard with gloves. Yeah, children's book telling of the story of a sick father. I assume there is some greater relevance to the story of the game itself. I hope to find out what that might be. The illustration is really well done. This is well, okay. That's new. Usually, Taiwanese picture books wouldn't have that much in boobs. That's new. That's definitely not quite traditional, as you can imagine. But no, the art is really well done. It's reminiscent of what like what the boy remembers growing up with. That's sort of like I wouldn't call this watercolor, but yeah, very traditional painting style, very traditional like depictions. That was an Amber Alert. Let me fix that. There we go. Sorry about that, folks. It gets a little spooky with the owls and a big old stamp. The stamp seems to be representing the girl. Of course, the girl gets the message back to her father after her trials and tribulations. Prayers are made leading to the development of the. Oh, this is the poppy that was included in the set, and was supposed to be a happy ending with the father that's revived. These are also traditional Aboriginal Taiwanese clothes, I believe. Hokkien clothes, not the Mandarin style. So yeah. Oh, further details. This is definitely a children's book because every single lettering over here, you would call this kanji in Japanese, but it's obviously. I wish the camera would focus on it better. Anyhow, what I want to demonstrate is that there is additional script on the right hand side of each word of the pictographic Chinese. And that's the pinyin system. That is to teach kids how to pronounce each word to make it easier to recognize. They're effectively like phonetic alphabets, which growing up as a Taiwanese American kid, you resent that very much. That English is so easy to learn because it is in fact a phone. What did I just call it? The phono. So yeah, English is easy to learn because the alphabet tells you how to pronounce things, and then you have Chinese, where you actually memorize each and every individual pictographic symbol. Now there is supposed to be an actual system to determine what the word is and how it's supposed to be pronounced, right? Like a really, really loose system, but it allows for the production of like functional like dictionaries. Like one of the roots like anchor symbols, usually the one on the left, gives you like a general idea of the category that word falls into, and then you can use the dictionary to look it up, or at least like count the brushstrokes related and find out that way. But it's not consistent. It's not consistent. It has changed multiple times over the centuries, and therefore, the only actual way to deal with it is to memorize the damn thing. I'm not very good at that. The alphabet any day of the week. Next two things, I have no idea what they are. I believe this is something you can build. It's a stand, I think. I'm not sure how it works together. Curious. I think, let me see. You put the red slot here into the back of this kitchen stand. Oh, I see. Yeah. This card goes over here, anchored to this card goes over here. The little nub on top fits into one of the white slots over here. So you basically produce like a miniature shrine that way. I assume it has game relevance because right now I have no idea why we're supposed to put this together. Now, of course, Taiwan's not the only place with issues with cultists and scam artists using religion to bait out their prey. Infamously, this has been a major problem for Japan as well, and Korea, I believe. Not to dismiss the faithful, but the universally loving God is not a concept that ghosts are particularly fond of because ghosts are the abandoned. And I don't just mean like actual ghosts, I also mean the ghosts of society, the people that you look down upon or forget about. The ones that are uncomfortable to look at because they have been led astray and you don't want to follow them down that road. I know enough about the plot of devotion to be very interested in it. Especially the strain between like filial obligations, cultural expectations, religious expectations, and like the helplessness that can cause. Yeah, there was a lot of that. I remember a lot of that. Boy remembers a lot of that. Let's see. Um, yeah, that's all I have for now. I will test to see whether or not this thing installs properly and has a subtitle option. If it does have English subtitles, I see no reason whatsoever why I shouldn't stream this, especially as a Taiwanese dude. I just take full advantage of that. Full advantage of my Taiwanese history or background to gain this game in the first place, to gain the special edition. Look, it's so good. Look at the packaging design for this. A game completely about like culture and, nostalgia to have a special edition quality this good. Who else is doing something this amazing with their products? Shit, man, For an indie studio, they really went out of their way to make a really, really good presentation. Like, look how good this is. Just right in front of you. Once you open up the VCR, man, that's creative. That's well designed. Hats off to them. Yeah, I will definitely see about streaming this. I absolutely want to stream this. All I need to do is find a way to actually do so. But ain't that always the case? What else? Oh, it's already been 25 minutes. That means it's been longer than my debut stream. Whoops. All right. That's all for now. I'm going to do my research on this, do my due diligence, and hopefully, we will have a devotion playthrough sometime next week. Let's see. Let's see. Let's talk about future plans. I have already posted up my preliminary schedule for the week. That will be next Thursday. I'll be breaking in my copy of Persona 5 Strikers. I'm really excited for that. The Persona series has, in general, been some of my favorite. Although I would say that in terms of gameplay, no, let me see. So I like Persona 5's story structure more, especially with the maturity that I dealt with like common like societal issues for like teenagers of a modern age. But I think it's a general consensus that Persona 4's characters were a little more lovable, despite the fact that they pulled the punches on a lot of their story arcs. Um, hmm. I kind of like honestly, it was a little disappointing how some of them resolved right. In a lot of cases, the characters at the end of their arc chose like personal stasis over growth. Uh, the Antares stayed in Antares. The the city slicker that was resentful of his place in the town hadn't really like either gone new ambitions or like fully embraced the new setting. And mostly, and let me see, the most annoying part was Naoto's arc, I think, where it felt like they could have dealt with trans themes and LGBT themes, but they chose to just say that she was confused because she was young and still developing. And that's been a bit of an issue with the storytelling with the Persona series so far. That they have a strong tendency to pull short of where you would think the characters would be going or where you would think they would be developing towards. Mostly if, especially, no, the way I would put it is that they told the line, they flirt with the line, but in terms of Japanese society and its tendency towards conservatism on social issues in particular, they never actually cross the line unless you're a villain. And that is a meta narrative flaw with a lot of real world setting games like that. Um, I understand why. It's harder to sell a game if you become known for crossing certain boundaries, right? Especially if you're mostly planning to sell within a domestic market, but it's still regressive. But actually, that's why I'm so interested in Strikers. Not because I expect it to be any better, but because the overall quality of the stories has always been pretty good, and I like to be surprised. Especially since this is the very first game outside of the fighting games where we actually see a continuation of the relationships, right? So I'm hoping to see what I hope to see with Strikers is like an actual maturation of relationships. I don't I'm not necessarily going to be too concerned whether or not they push certain themes to their inevitable or logical conclusions, but at least want to see that they're capable of addressing changes in relationships without without like resorting to like permanent. What's the term I'm looking for? There's a trope name for it, but it's not coming to mind. That's really frustrating. But it's basically the idea that nothing ever changes because you want to sell for next sequel, right? And relationships fundamentally don't actually change all that much for the characters. That would disappoint me. If in the time jump between Persona 5 and Persona 5 Strikers, that we don't see any like furthering of how the friend circle has adjusted to the lifestyles, adjusted to new situations, and become more mature people, that would disappoint me. But I'm not actually expected to be too disappointed because I trust the writing team to have heard the feedback they've got, uh, and put more care and attention to like the fact that we are so invested in these characters. That's the most important thing. So I'm looking forward to Thursday, and that will be all from me for now. Yeah, 30 minutes sharp. Thank you all. Well, if you are watching this in the VOD, because I don't think anybody's in the channel right now, but if you are watching this in the VOD, thank you for checking out Devotion with me, and I will let you know as soon as I figure out if I can actually play this thing. Good night. Happy eatings.